Today I'm working with you to do a pâté en croûte, which is pâté meat in pastry. First step we're going to start off with is the pastry, and then that way we can allow that to sit and rest in the fridge before we roll it out and build our final pâté. First of all, I have 500 grams of plain flour, just into the mixer, 2 grams of salt, and then I have 250 grams of diced butter. The butter is cold and you want that so it doesn't melt too easily and actually forms your pastry nicely. So just on a low speed in the mixer, what I'm looking for is the flour to start become granulated, so the butter will break down into the flour and it'll almost look like sand. That should take about 5 minutes. This is what we're looking for with our pastry to start with. It's come into the sandy, crumbly texture. You don't have any big lumps of butter. And while the machine's running, still on the low speed, I'm going to add the 200 mils of water and just a slow, steady stream into there. You don't want to go too rushed with it because then you can make it too wet, but you want it to slowly go in there and then that way it'll just help it all incorporate together. So now our pastry has come together quite nicely there. And so what I'm going to do, with this short crust recipe, we don't need to add any flour to our bench. It's not a sticky recipe, but what I do now is just onto the table and I'm just going to roll it a little bit just to help it come into one piece. We don't want to work it too much at this stage because it will become really tight. You just want to kind of leave it as quite a loose pastry. That now I'm going to wrap and then go into the fridge for 2 hours minimum. If you want, you can leave it in the fridge for 24 hours or longer. This pastry will last up to 5 days. Now our pastry's been resting for a few hours. I've pulled it out of the fridge and let it come back up to room temperature now. You can feel that it's sort of ready to roll because it's a bit squishy and very malleable. So I start off with my parchment paper longways like this. And at first I'll just work it out to the edges a little bit before I put that top sheet on. Now I've worked it out to the edges slightly, I will turn it. It's always nice to have a little bit of an overhang on your bench with the paper because then you can tuck it down and hold it while you're working it, and then that way it means that your pastry is not going to run away on you. And we're looking for about a 5mm thickness on this one. You can go thicker. I tend to find that the thicker you go though, it doesn't cook as well. So about 5mm gives you a nice cook the whole way through, gives you that crustiness, but it also holds everything together because when we're cooking it, there will be a lot of liquids that will be coming out and that will in turn make your pastry soft. With any excess bits that are overhangs, you can just use a knife to trim them off. These are the pâté en croûte tins that I use. So what I'll do is I'll just lay it to the edge, leaving about a 10mm overhang on one end, and then I just roll it away from there. And that will give me a little bit more to the edge this side. And that's our lining. And there we have it, that's our pastry. Our bottom and our 2 side walls, and then we have our 2 end pieces as well. Just put this in the fridge for a minute to harden up again before we line our mould. With this recipe, I like to use some pork belly. The reason for that is that we are looking for a 70-30 mix meat to fat ratio. What that does is it just helps to add the moisture back into it. First I'm going to cross cut it, just trying to get it at about 5mm sort of thickness. What I'm actually going to do now is strip it and cut it into strips, and just still sort of looking for about that 5mm thickness on your dice. All that meat's diced up here. And now to this we're going to start making our mix up. We'll start with the salt and the spice first, in with my chopped parsley, pistachios, got our shallots, and then our minced garlic as well. Again, you can wear gloves, you can use a spoon if you don't feel like getting all hands on, but I find it's nicer to work with your hands, gets you in touch with the food. You can then sort of judge a bit better how the mix is working. So our pastry has been sitting in the fridge. It's gone a bit stiffer. What we'll do is we'll start to build our mould up. I like to just drop it in, folding it in half almost. And then what we do is here, now that it's in the mould, we can peel out that parchment paper. And then what we'll do is we're just flat to the walls and then working it into the corners in the base there. Now we'll work on our two ends. Similar sort of thing, dropping them in, leaving that little bit of overhang at the top, and also a little bit of a fold down in the bottom corner as well. And that'll just help seal it up nicely. So at this stage here, with that little excess overflap, what we're gonna actually do is roll it in, sort of bring it up straight, and then roll it down on itself. So you're creating a nice rounded top on the pastry. That's what we're looking for. Nice rounded edges, not too much pastry bulk in any of the corners or along the edge or anything like that. And then now we'll fill it. The tip to filling it as well is making sure that it's pushed down enough. And just running that nice little channel down the middle, and that is where I'll lay my prunes in. Starting all the way at one end, right up against the pastry, and then I sort of lap them over a little bit, and then that just means that I know that I'm going to get a nice solid line all the way through. First off, I'm just going to run a little bit of egg wash down along the edges, and that's just going to help the pastry stick together. Just running along that outside sort of edge with my fingers, just to give it a bit of shape, making sure that it's tucked down, rolling up that edge, getting it sort of standing up straight, making sure that it's all joined nicely the whole way around. Just using your index and middle finger and your thumb, what we're going to do is work our way around, just pinching, and that's going to give us a little bit of a wavy shape to our pâté. Now we need to cut our vents in there. That allows steam to escape. What I'm going to use is a small cookie cutter. For a pâté this size, I generally go with 3 holes. Once you've egg washed the whole thing, this is sort of the point where we can get a bit creative with our decoration. And you just want to make sure that you're also brushing up on the outsides, just to help give it a bit of a nice golden brown colour to it, and also seal off any of the gaps along the edges. Just a bit of ground black pepper, and then also some of the flake salts. And what we'll do now is we're going to make the chimneys, and these just help to let the steam escape and any excess moisture that needs to sort of come out. This will go into the oven at 160 degrees, and I put it in for about half an hour to begin with, and then that's just to help everything set and help it start warming through. And then I turn the oven up to about 200, 210. And what we're looking for when it's finished is a nice golden brown colour to it, and then an internal temperature of about 80 to 85 degrees. What I have here is a bit of aspic that I've started earlier. It has red wine, a bit of thyme, bay leaf, and some stock in there. I'm just going to bring that back up to heat now, and then while that's happening, I'm going to soak my gelatin. So that gelatin there, it's gotten all nice and soft now. So what I do now is I just take that out of the water and straight into our pot of warm stock and wine. But yeah, just making sure that's all nicely incorporated in there. Now that it's sat out for a bit, what I'm going to do is just, with my pot, I'm just going to go straight from the pot into the chimneys. Then what you want to do is put it into the fridge to set fully overnight. There we have it. The aspic that we poured in has filled in all the egg gaps nicely, and you've got the nice even pastry around the outside, and then you've got your cognac prune in the middle. And there we have our pâté en croûte.